wasn't successful. I'm not accustomed to speaking in groups with a microphone in my hand, but you all look like you're happy and enjoying yourselves and are pleased with what we've done. But Roger Moore was a touch of class, and he sure did come forward and come through for us. As our new mayor, Jeff Reeser, is a ball of fire for this city. He is absolutely dynamite. And, you know, at this time, the theater, let me get organized here. At the time we got the building, we thought it was not very good condition, but we still had high hopes. We formed a great committee called the Bucyrus Community Theater, as I mentioned. And I want to thank all of them for their dedication and hard work. It was not to be. There were mixed emotions when it had to be demolished, but happy we were able to preserve one memory. Those two original projectors. There's one in the park here, the other one is down at the Historical Society. And I want to thank Roger Rush and Rod Stribe for taking those projectors and getting them in the condition that they're in today. They've been cleaned, sanded, painted, and also sprayed with, Roger Rush come up with a government spray that rubberized that will prevent rust from accumulating. So that has a coating on it right now. The other one we took to the Historical Society. I'm always one that has always been positive about things. And however, if you look on the bright side of things, good always prevails. So look what we have here today in this place. A beautiful park that makes you feel like you're still sitting in the theater. And I want to thank Mayor Jeff Reeser, his committee, Eric Groy, the magnificent artist and his crew, and all the financial donations that has made this park possible. We can all be very proud of what they've done. And I would like to close by just saying thank you, and we're very happy to see all of you turn out here today. It's amazing. There's not hardly any room in here. So, but anyway, keep coming back to the park and enjoy it. And thanks again for your support.
Thank you, Joe. Gonna stop up and see me today? Okay, it's like usual. Okay. We'll be there. All right, now, Shines Art Park is first and foremost a place for all of us to enjoy the arts, right? So if you turn here, you see this area on the wall there. That is you all know what that's intended for. We're gonna have a movie series, The Price is Right. We might even have a couple this year, but we'll have a summer movie series, and that'll be a great place for our kids to enjoy. We also reached out to, we already mentioned it too about Eric, but we have another local artist who teaches at the school system and has nationally known, nationally recognized metal artwork right under our noses. He's here with us today to share a few words about his sculptures and what they mean. So I'd like to call Scott Mendel up. Thank you, Scott.
Good morning. As I just told you, I'm the middle school art teacher here in Bucyrus. This is my third year living in this community, and it's been a real joy the last 3 years, and I continue to look forward to teaching and living here. Thank yous out of the way. First and foremost, thank you to Bucyrus City Schools. If they hadn't hired me, I wouldn't be here. Brad Murdoff, who gave the initial introduction to Mayor Reeser. It was at a Chamber of Commerce meeting. He said, "Hey, we're looking for a sculptor." And Brad said, "Well, we happen to have one teaching at our school." Obviously, Mayor Reeser and his whole family, or his whole team, in believing in my vision and what I wanted to create. Gary and Kyle Johns of G&W Products out of Cincinnati. That's where I've been going to build these every other weekend. So that's been a long, tedious thing. Brian Siebert for laying out the engineering schematics in order for this stuff to be cut out and produced. And of course, my family and friends, and for their continued support. When I was first approached about this project, I had looked to the past, to think about what had happened here. Obviously I'm a transplant, so I didn't know that this used to be a movie theater. I didn't know what it was. But you stop and think about what a small movie theater means to a community, to a town. How many children were inspired by the first showing of Bambi or Snow White, or dreamed of another universe by seeing Star Wars. These are all things that impact young people and allow them to take time out of their lives to dream of other things. So that was the hurdle: how to transition from a movie theater that allowed thousands to take that break from their daily lives to making art that would continue to allow people to dream. With that in mind, I went to the drawing board and tried to create two distinctive pieces. The first is the piece to the front of the park, which has already been the subject of some dialogue. It is a piece that took me a little out of my comfort zone. Typically, I don't do things that are supposed to resemble anything. I do abstract architectural work, but it is indeed meant to be an abstract bird. So for those of you wondering if it was a whale or if it was a plain fin, it is meant to be a bird. And eventually what will happen is there'll be a large brass ball that goes on the backside. And that's meant to be this bird lifting this idea, this thought to the sky. I'm trying to promote abstract thoughts. The second piece over here, it's more in my wheelhouse. It's an architectural assemblage. There'll be 7 waves, and they'll actually be able to spin. So, if your son or daughter, small child, wants to touch them, they can touch them. I would encourage that when it's completed. They'll be able to spin, and so each time we'll kind of create a different view, and they'll be ground down a little bit more than they are now, and so we'll be able to reflect the blue sky above or the grass below. So there's still some work to be done for completion, but we're around the corner and making our way home. But the initial goal has already been achieved, and that public art is to create dialogue, creating conversation, getting people talking. I've already seen and heard this from people visiting, from "what is it?" or "that's going to look amazing," to the social media driven conversations of "that's too modern for our town," or "what should we call it?" The important part here is dialogue, creating a conversation. Whether you love it or hate it, you're still talking about it. And that's the point of public art, is to create that dialogue and have you interacting with each other and expressing your ideas, positively and negatively. You're still talking about it. So I'll finish with this, that the two pieces will change over time. All right, so the reds, blues, and greens will get deeper, they'll patina. The stainless steel will obviously stay shiny, but each time you come back to the park, whether it be a week, a month, a year, the pieces are ever going to be evolving and changing with time. So, thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you. I wish I had your hair. I know it's kind of a hassle to you right now, but I'll trade you. Wow, nice. And that's what we were asking Scott to do, create some bold art, you know, that created conversation, and Lord knows it has, you know. And this piece here that's just in this beginning stages right here. I think, am I right that you used Timken, the tapered roller bearings in that also? Yes. So we use the Timken roller bearings. That has another connection to Bucyrus. And one final connection. Scott's aunt is the former Kathy Kuhn. You know, the Kuhn family lived here so many times. His uncle's Jack Metal, Kathy's husband. So we are so blessed to have you and your talent in this community. There's another artist here who created a beautiful archway for us. Roger Rush brought the model in, and we loved it. But the model did not do this justice. As this was going up, we could see that this archway was truly special. So would you come up and share a couple words with us? Roger Rush, everyone.
Well, it became part of this project because of Joe Armbruster there. I was getting ready to go home one day, and he stopped me from leaving out my door and said he wanted me to design something for the projectors out there to protect it. So that's how that started, and I designed that, and they liked it, but then they wanted me to design something for the entrance there. So I made a scale model real quick and a sketch, and they decided to go with that. Maybe the display case will come later. But there was a lot of people involved with that. I want to thank a lot of my friends of mine because they had a time crunch on it too. It had to all be done in about 4 to 5 weeks. So I want to thank Bob Bueller, a Mason friend of mine, that helped me get it laid up. There was also my son worked on it. Another friend of mine, Chris Young, did the welding for me. And my 2 grandsons also worked on it, helped pouring cement. So there was a community project for sure, just to try to get that 4 weeks done, but we made it. And I thank all of you for letting me be part of this project, because I really did enjoy it.
Thank you, Roger. So impressive to drive by and see that. What can we say about Eric Growy? You know, he's been here before, right? Yeah. We're out of time. We don't have any time to speak. So. He's so humble. I've never met an artist who is so humble about his work and so concerned about what people think about it, that he's always asking, and he says, "Make sure you tell me, you know, what you want me to do, where you want me to anything in particular you want on it." You know, most artists would never do that, and it's really a blessing for us. And the one thing I think I did request is to have Bogey and Ingrid Bergman there. So I thank you for doing that. It's my favorite movie, Casablanca, and maybe you'll tell about some of the characters. I think most of all of them are easily recognizable. Thanks for saying yes to us. You know, yeah. And I know this morning we got here early and started setting up the chairs, and you know, Eric's up there in the scissors lift, putting the finishing touches. But I think with Eric, there's really the only finishing when it's finished is when the flight attendant says boarding for Seattle, and then Eric's truly, so he's always tinkering. Please come up and share with us a few words. Eric Growy.
I always ask, what else would you like to see? But it doesn't mean it's going to happen. But if it's a good idea, it's a good idea. I don't care who it is or what they have in mind. We'll take a look at it and see if it's appropriate. I'm going to be brief today. This story started, I think, 62 years ago when I had my first commission, and it was for doing a poster for a movie that was going to be run in my elementary school. I was 11 years old, and the movie was Lost Horizons. And since then, I've been continuing to get art commissions, and very grateful for each one. But I came out of retirement for this one for one reason. My wife and I have 12,000 close personal friends right here. That's all of you. 12,000 close personal friends. I'm not going to mention everybody by name because my memory just does not work that way. But first I want to, I hope they are, I don't see them, I'm sure they're here. But my two assistants over the last month and 3/4, Mo Taylor and Ruthie, whose last name I cannot pronounce, I would like to have you acknowledge them. There they are, back there. Raise your hands, raise your hands. And another gentleman, John W. Neal, who is back in near Des Moines, starting another project. But I was contacted over a year ago, and my wife said, "Don't do it," because she knows how I operate. And I said, "No, it'll be very simple. I just paint the wall red and put up a few little medallions. That'll be it." And she was right. I kept going and going. And by the way, I talked to her last night, and she also says hello to all our 12,000 close personal friends here. And could have been here today, but she's got things she needs to take care of at home with her family and so on. But I am so honored and grateful for the last 20 some odd years to be invited here to participate in this community's well-being and its future. I take these things to heart, as you may know. I want to leave behind something that brings you together, gives you memories, and I think the best comment I ever heard about my work, it wasn't from the politicians, sorry. It wasn't from the mayors, sorry. It was from about a 14-year-old kid who came up when I was repairing the mural up the street. And he asked me if I was the one who had painted it originally, and I said, yes, I was. He said, well, this mural's been the background for my life. How do you think I felt about that? That's why I do these things. And it's closing now. I've got my own personal projects to do, things to build, things to paint for myself. We continue to get requests for work in this nation and all over the world, but just remembering now how stressful getting this design work done, and you take it to heart and you want to give and give and give, and I'm so exhausted today, but I want to let you know that one of the great joys of the hard work in my life has been the association with the people of Bucyrus. Its spirit, its character, the individuals will stay with my wife and myself for the rest of our lives. It's been the highlight and the joy that permeates our life. So many people have contributed. Bob Goldberg brings me pizza. People come up and shake hands all day long and ask about the people in the window. And we are going to have more people, and we're going to have the community make suggestions as to who those people should be. We stopped short of filling the windows for that purpose. So it's going to continue, and it's going to be the joy of my future to know who you pick and watch Mo and Ruthie, hopefully down the road, fill in those windows for me. But I'll tell you, my heart will remain here, and I thank you all so very much. Thank you.
So well deserved. What a blessing it's been to know you. And it may sound like you're going away. You're only a young fellow still. But we have a bicentennial coming up in a few years. And I need to ask, since we got a captive audience here, we need to start thinking about that. How are we going to celebrate that? We'll find a wall. We'll find a wall. Yeah. So I guess that leads into what's coming. We're working on. We want this to be a place of bold artwork, right? Something that creates, like Scott said, that conversation. So we're already working on some ideas for some additional pieces. We just need some funding. I'm looking at some people with some money in their pockets out there, I hope. Right where I stand, there you might remember that the stage was planned. Well, Lynn came to me. Oh, that was a tough day. When Lynn said, this is what we've got left, this is what the estimate is for the stage. She said, do you want a stage with no park or a park with no stage. We chose the park with no stage. I think it was a good idea. But we have a stage that we need to raise funds for to put in this area here. We've got some ideas on that. Senator Burke has been gracious to be able to be willing to work with us. I think I'm sorry if I haven't thanked everybody. We had committee that worked. The committee members, if you're here, raise your hand. Great, that worked on the committee. I know several of you are here. We thank you for working on that, for the initial ideas on that too. I think I've thanked everyone. If I haven't, I will thank you later personally. So as we close today, I just want to say it's been a privilege for me to take over for Roger and everything he did here. And you know, as I said at the dedication of the water plant, you know, this was Roger's dream, and to have this done along with the water plant, I just was just fortunate to be able to see it to fruition. So it's a blessing for me to be in this position, and especially to be in here and the community I love and people that I love. And you know, the water plant, if you think about it, you know, the work that took, the effort that took, and the money, the cooperation. Water is critical. So we can't live without water, can we? You know, we have to have water every day. It's a basic need. It's critical to our very existence. But art feeds our souls. So we combine the needs of body and soul here in this community in just basically 1 month apart. So if you think about it, you know, this community has heart, it has soul, it's a can-do community. And we will be, we have some other ideas. We're going to be turning our attention to some other big projects. Bike path is one of them. But there's other ones. We want to make our parks nicer. We want to replant trees. But we're not going to do that as just government. We need everyone's help on it. And you've proven you can do it. So in closing, I just ask God to bless this community, continue to bless it as He has for about almost 200 years, and continue to bless all of you. And thanks again for everyone who had a part today and all the fine people that came out today. Enjoy the park. Thank you.